Alright, we're time for bed now. Just getting ourselves in and ready. Taking everything out of the way. It's a lot colder tonight than it was in previous nights. So previously I haven't needed to do really anything other than just get in and lie down and add a little sheet to cover me up, because it does steam up in here quite quickly and get warm, but it hasn't yet. It's a lot colder, so I'll try and get everything in and set up. Right. Shut the door. And hang our curtains. Now the plan was for us to head out really early tomorrow, because I wanted to basically be ready to go early and get to Northumberland. However, given the fact that I've been working and editing until basically 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm not sure how sensible that plan is anymore. So it might be a case of we'll leave a little bit before we go. Who knows? But I will keep you updated as always. So we'll catch you in the morning, guys. Right, we are on our way once again, a little bit later than I'd hoped, but everything was just soaking wet, even though it hadn't dried. I think just because it had been so cold at night, and it was a beautiful day today, completely clear blue skies, and just the amount of dew and condensation that there was a lot. So the canopy ended up being soaking wet, the tent ended up being wet, I had to hang that up to dry, and by the time I just packed and sorted everything down and hit the road, just fueled up, it's now a little later in the morning than I'd hoped. But we are now well and truly on our way. We have less than 2 hours to get up to Northumberland in terms of travel time, where we're going to be going straight to the beach that I found the Polystrate trees on last time, and then Lord willing, they will still be there, maybe even some more exposed, and we'll be able to start mapping and filming them. The other thing about it is we're in the Jurassic, right? So we've just come from the Jurassic coast of Whitby, and there's 20 other places that we could have gone along this coast in order to go and find fossils. It is an amazing and a spectacular place to go. But we're heading north, and really once we get beyond Durham, we start to get into the Carboniferous. Now, Durham has an interesting geological connection, because it was actually the Bishop of Durham who is claimed to have invented the word geology, the study of the earth, the word about the earth. And it's also known for its Carboniferous, which is a British term for these rock types. It literally means the rocks that are full of carbon, right? The carbon-like rocks. And it's true, because as you get up to this north area, the rocks are full of carbon, whether it be oil or coal. They are Carboniferous rocks, and they are absolutely chock-a-block full of carbon. Now, of course, if you live in the United States, you wouldn't possibly go with the English naming of things, seeing as you sort of got rid of all Brits and British things. So you have a different name if you're in the USA for these rocks. What you do, they're exactly the same rocks, but what you do is you split them in two, because we have upper and lower Carboniferous. You keep that split, but you label them Pennsylvanian and Mississippian. The reality is they're exactly the same rocks that are over there in the USA. They map up from the Carboniferous rocks from Canada down into the USA, and they match up pretty much perfectly with what you have down here. Now, I've seen the Carboniferous rocks all over the world, particularly in the USA and here in the UK and in the continent as well, continental Europe as well. And the reality is, you could hop in a, time vortex machine and go pop, 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 and they all look identical. There's no difference between the trees whatsoever. It's the same type of trees. They're all sitting there polystrate, cutting up through many layers. And the fossils that you get out of them are identical as well. And that's the other thing. See, we're going to this location where we'll see the polystrate trees, and that's obviously very exciting. But the other cool thing about it is what you have with polystrate trees as a general rule is that they're sitting up there in the rock and they all sit on the same bed of coal. And on the border of that coal to where it becomes the base of that tree, there's a layer which is full of plant material. Beautiful ferns, beautiful things like seed ferns, which are unusual one, neuropterus, even thorns can be found there. And we found some thorns the last time that I went up there. So we'll continue to dig, we'll continue to explore and map some of these trees, and it should be a pretty decent trip visit overall. Well, we are about 10 miles out, and I think that the beach itself is quite remote and out of the way, so I think it's sensible to grab a drink and a toilet break. So there's a coffee shop, according to Google, just a few minutes away, a couple of minutes away, so I think we'll call in there first. I also, by the way, haven't had a proper coffee here since Monday morning, so I could do with a proper coffee. I sort of come over, see we managed to run over before that hit and got soaking wet. But you can see what we're starting to deal with right up the top here. Can you see that thick old layer of coal? Now that's a really good sign that we're in the right place and we're looking for some good trees and stuff, because it's almost always sandwiched in between layers of coal. You end up with a bottom layer which the tree sits in and it reaches up towards the coal. So that's a really good sign. If you find a layer down below or you find a layer up above, it's a good sign that you're on the right track for some trees. So we've got to keep going. It's a bit stinky here right now because look, we've got all this piles and piles of rotting seaweed. So it's a very, I don't know what it is, methane perhaps. It's very smelly. Anyway, we'll keep moving our way along because we should start to see some trees at any point, and we're going to follow that layer of coal. You can see it runs, it starts all the way over there. We started seeing it in a very tiny trace amount, so all the way over there, and now it's starting to get thicker and thicker as it moves on. So we keep going and we keep looking. I've just noticed there's another huge coal seam right up the top there. Really pretty as well, and so that's a good sign. We're getting close. Let's keep making our way along. Well, we found one. Whether it's the same one as last time or not, I don't know. I'm not sure it is, because have a look. Here it is here. There you can see it, right? So it's a lycopod tree, which is a type of what we call them tassel ferns today, or club mosses. It's in the same family. Now today they're spindly little things that roll along the ground, right? In the past they were huge trees, but you can see it's basically mud in the inside because these are a hollow tree, and you can see there, look, there you have the coal, which is part of the bark, goes down to the base. There's the coal seam along the base, and there's part of the bark just up there as well. Actually, you can see some of the details. So this could be excavated a little bit more. There it is in there. There we go. You can start to see it show up quite nicely there, part of the bark. But of course the problem with it is it's clearly sticking up in the tree, so all of this cliff would need to go in order to see the rest of it. But this, I've seen some of these that are sort of 20 odd foot tall, so who knows how high it goes. But a few key things. Number one, there's your layer, right, of coal that the tree's sitting in, so it matches perfectly. If we have a little bit of a dig through this, you often find that it's absolutely chock-a-block full of plant material. There we are, look, leaves and all sorts in there. So we'll come back and have a scrummage around at that layer and see if we can find some extra fossils. But of course it could be, because if you look right, this is where the seas eroded it away. There's a huge amount of stuff up above it. It could be that the tree we saw last time has eroded and gone, who knows? But we'll keep making our way along and seeing what we can find. But there's a good start. Lovely polystrate tree. It's even better than I'd hoped, folks. This is great. Okay, so first of all, just lying all around here, there's fossils everywhere. Look, there's a lovely bit of lycopod just there. There's another whole branch there, big bit there. I could be collecting here all day, and probably will be anyway. Right, coal layer down there, definitely. Okay, keep making our way up. And this, I'm pretty sure, is the tree that we saw last time, but it was just exposed last time. There's our coal layer running down there. If we go up, 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 there's another coal layer with a big thick one up high above. And if we come over to here and we come down, there's our tree. There's our polystrate tree. It's certainly got a lot more exposed. It goes straight down into the coal seam there. It's been beautifully exposed and preserved. There's our infill. There's the bark, all this bark running all the way down here. In fact, you can see where this bit has come out and it's left the impression just there. So I reckon none of this was here last time. This is all fresh material that's fallen down. All of this is, look, there's more big bits of the bark and the coal down there. That will have come from up high above. And we now have this really lovely exposed, rather beautiful polystrate tree. Okay, so let's talk polystrate. Poly means many, straight refers to the strata or the layers, and you can see there's all your layers, right, running up, and there's a rather sizable tree that's cutting up through all of those layers. So we're definitely dealing with something that has been buried quickly. When you find polystrate fossils that are cut up through the layers, we're dealing with something that's been buried quickly. We're not dealing with something that's sat around for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years waiting to be fossilized, because this is a hollow plant. It would have just been destroyed. The tree in question is a lycopod, and we spoke about that a little earlier. The lycopods are now, well, they're not extinct, they're still around, but we call them club mosses or tassel ferns. They're tiny little spindly things. In the past, they were much bigger. Now, that's change for sure, but it's not evolution. It's actually devolution. Now, put that into the picture of history of the world according to the Bible, right? The Bible says everything was started very good, in a very good world. Man sinned, world was cursed, and the world went from good to bad. By the time you get down to Noah's flood, and you have God's judgment on mankind and major climate change after the flood, the world has gone from good to bad to worse to where we are today. It's a downhill spiral. Whereas evolution says everything should be getting better, right? Molecules to man over millions of years, all by itself. And the reality is, we don't see that. You see, the rocks do not cry out the praises of Charles Darwin, who claimed that things were improving and evolving upwards and onwards. No, lycopods used to be big, now they're much, much smaller. Okay, so evidence of a living fossil? Well, sort of. Certainly it's the same kind. Evidence of evolution? Absolutely not. It's going the wrong way. Evidence for rapid burial? 100%. And we have evidence of fast burial between the coal. You see, the coal is supposed to have formed in swamps very slowly over millions of years, but that doesn't fit what we're dealing with here. One layer of coal, another layer of coal, polystrate tree that goes in between. Definitely evidence of fast-flowing water, wind coming in currents, sweeping up these fossils, burying them together, and the trees, when they become waterlogged, stand upright in the water. And if it's standing upright in the water, it's going to be buried upright in the water, and that's what we can see the evidence of here. So there's your main structure. There's more of your plant material, right? We've got your bark. There's big chunks of bark that are falling around and are lying around on the ground. So we're going to spend a little while digging, because I saw another polystrate tree over there. There was a second one that we found just back there after the first one we found. So they're all along this stretch. It's everywhere. But really, if you just come down and look, you'll see that these fossils are just lying around everywhere, and they're in an amazing state of preservation. I mean, just look at this one here. Just this one slab, right? We have so many fossils just all the way across it, and this is all soft crumbly stuff that we can open up and expose more. Big part, look, of that coal up the top there with that bark on it, and yeah, it's just so much. It's amazing. So we're going to spend a little bit of time here, set up camp, do a little bit of digging, and see what we can find as we continue to excavate and dig through all of this loose rubble. So let's get going. Of course, one of the points that we make about polystrate trees and the like is that there's no way they could have taken millions of years. But the reality is, most of the plants here, or many of the plants here, are actually polystrate in themselves. So just come have a look at this. We were just digging through this this sample down here, right? And we found this. Now look, that's the way that the rock layers go, okay? There's the rock layers. Now you can see they're all lying on the top. They're laying flat. All right, that's fine. That's how they should be. Good. But then look at what's down the side here. Polystrate plants sticking up through those layers. So even on a small scale like this, you still have polystrate plants, and they make exactly the same point as the great big polystrate tree there. It happened quickly, and it happened in flowing water. This is not millions of years worth of slow, gradual deposition in a swamp-like environment. Nothing matches a swamp-like environment. Nothing indicates a swamp-like environment. It does indicate, however, that it was very, very quick burial. There's some more of those polystrate ones just around the side there. So even look, it's another one. Again, polystrate for sure. So, you know, it's the evidence is really there, and it's really, really abundant when you know where to look and what to look for. So we'll keep on carrying on. And I know that before we found about 4 or 5, I think, maybe 6 trees down here. Well, that's our third one. We'll keep going along and looking, because there's been some more rock falls up there. So we'll keep keeping an eye out and looking and seeing what we can come up across. Well, it's getting a little late in the day now, but I wanted to show you another little piece of geology and some concepts. Come back up to this tree here, right? Lovely tree, but have a look at some of the more specific detail. You see, one of the things that John Mackay, who's our international director, taught me about geology years back, is look close, look at the detail. Okay, so we'll pull up some pointers. Okay, we've got the coal down here. Coal is pretty much on the same level. Then we've got this really fine-grained mud on both sides. Then as we go up, we start to get to this crumbly mud. Can you see the change? Crumbly mud, fine-grained mud. Crumbly mud, crumbly mud, fine-grained mud. Okay, come back a little bit. Number one, notice how the tree is at a slight angle. It is actually at a slight incline there. But also notice, look at the mud on this side and look at the mud on this side. It's slightly higher. It's actually about 6 to 8 inches higher on this side. Now, this is also indication of flow. We can duplicate this with the strata machine experiments, and what you'll find is that the base of the tree will get caught up in the slurry of sediment first. And so what happens is it begins to be pushed up by the sediment on one side, which means that you actually end up with more sediment on the side that the water is flowing than on the other side. In other words, not only do we have evidence that this was buried in flowing water, but we actually have evidence of which way the water was flowing. It was flowing in that way, because you actually end up with the trees being pushed up. So we've got, lovely evidence, more evidence of this flowing water situation. There you can see it quite nicely there with it on an angle. And you can see as well how the fine-grained sediment doesn't quite match up. So you've actually got a change in the way that the water is flowing and the way that the sediments are behaving, and it's changed because the tree is there. So it's flowing water for sure, and you can even start to see some of the dynamics of that flowing water carrying that slurry of sediment as it goes. So fascinating stuff, really. Oh, and by the way, we've traced all the trees up and down here. They're all pointing at that angle, the same angle. Great stuff. All right, folks, well, we've got another little bit of research that we're going to be doing now. We've actually been taking a 3D scan of this tree, and we're using a program which allows us to do it and to sort it. So we're just going to see if we can get it set up and sorted. If I can get signed in for a second. All right, here we go. Captures. Let's add a new capture. So this is a great new setup. It uses a whole load of LiDAR technology and machinery in order to be able to give a really good mapping of it. And we'll also take a photo one of it as well, if time allows. Come over this side. Yeah, lovely. Keep going down here. Going down here. Get it all the way around. Sure that we get everything covered, and I reckon that will do nicely. Get all these details in. Stop with that now. It's just processing now. This may or may not work with the LiDAR because we haven't had 100% complete success, but it is loading now. If not, we'll try again with a photo one, which might take a little bit longer, but it should give us some good results. So it's just processing at the moment. It's just got a few seconds left to go, about 20 seconds or so, and we'll see what we've ended up as a result. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully it'll come out and work. If not, we'll take a photo one. But I thought that for a cliff face, the LiDAR might actually work better in that sense. So, all right, last couple of seconds. Here we go. See, right near the end, and we'll see what we've got as a result of it. All right, here we go, guys. Here it is. I'll put up a proper video of it a little bit later, but there we are. One 3D scan. Looks pretty good. You can see the tree in the middle there. It's got all the details. I've got another one just here as well, this one, which, yeah, the details, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm quite hungry, so we're gonna do this outdoor style. It's a really beautiful evening. It really is. And it's time for some beans and sausages and bread. Don't have a toaster, so can't do it properly with a toasty, but there we are. Happy days. Bon appetit. That was much needed. And it really is getting quite dark now. I can see the sun is just about set over there. So we better get packed up and head off. I'll see you at the hotel, guys. Alright, here we are. It's pretty decent, really. Couple of beds, couple of stuff. I can sit and do some work. Happy days, really. proper shower, be able to have a proper shower instead of a camp shower, and I'll be looking forward to that. So yeah, I think I did all right getting this place, and I'm now going to sit and crack on with some of the editing of this video, pulling it all together, getting it all ready, and then probably we'll do another good long Bible study tonight as well. So that'll go out live, and hopefully this video comes out to you on time, because the last two we've had to go out in the morning following. Anyway, that's just the way it goes, isn't it? But hopefully this one will be able to go out on with plenty of time still today, if I crack on with it, because it's only about 7ish now, maybe just gone 7. Yeah, it's just about 20 past 7, so we should be alright. So goodbye guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, that's another point actually, I've got to work out what we're doing tomorrow. Got a few different ideas, but anyway, I'll keep you updated on the live video. So goodbye guys.